Hey, Jonathan Gibson, Realtor here with the April Stevens Team Coastal Division of the EXP here in Eastern North Carolina. Wanted to take a minute today to go over the Real Estate Commission's Working with a Real Estate Agent disclosure. Now, in North Carolina, the Real Estate Commission says that at first substantial contact, you're supposed to stop the conversation and go over this disclosure. First substantial contact is the moment you start discussing your means or motivations of purchasing any real property in North Carolina. Now, in North Carolina, real estate agents play three different roles. First role is a seller's agent, a buyer's agent, and a dual agent. A seller's agent owes all of their loyalty and duties to the seller. So if you start talking to a listing agent about your motivation or anything that could compromise your position in purchasing a property, they are supposed to relay all of that information to their seller. Unless you have an agency relationship in place, that is their duty. Now, a buyer's agent has those same duties to a buyer. They're not supposed to disclose anything that could compromise your position when it comes to purchasing real estate. A dual agent, well, a dual agent's responsibilities are a little different because they have those same responsibilities to each the buyer and the seller, so they can't disclose anything to one or the other. But they also cannot act as your coach anymore either. Now they become a referee. Now, the way dual agency happens in North Carolina, there's a couple different ways. The first one is if a listing agent were also to have a buyer client who was interested in purchasing a home they had listed for sale. That agent would be representing both the buyer and the seller. As you can see in that situation, they definitely become more of a referee versus a coach. The second way dual agency can happen in North Carolina is if you have a seller who is represented by an agent who works for ABC Realty, and you have a buyer who's represented by an agent who also works for ABC Realty. At that point, you are both clients of the same agency, and so that is dual agency as well. And we can talk about more on how that works, and there's actually a way to separate that, and we'll do a video on dual agency. Now, agency is the legal term for the relationship or the legal relationship between an agent and a client. If you do not have an agency relationship, you are a customer. And so all those loyalties and those duties do not legally belong to you. Now, the North Carolina Association of Realtors says that we have to have that agency relationship reduced to writing before we show you the first home. So keep that in mind when you call to go see a property. That agent's going to tell you they need to have that agency relationship in writing up front. Now, that agency relationship is going to spell out who pays which agent and where they're going to get that money from. Okay? There's a lot of other things covered in that agency relationship and that North Carolina Real Estate Commission buyer agency agreement, also in the exclusive right to sell listing agreement. And we'll do some other videos on what each one of those are and what they cover going forward. So again, I'm Jonathan Gibson, Realtor with the April Stevens Team, Coastal Division of EXP. Love to help you buy, sell, or invest in real estate here in coastal North Carolina. If you have any questions, please give me a call at 910-821-3464 or at aprilstevens.com.